Kevin Colbert, general manager for the Steelers, had a specific plan in last year's draft, going offensive line first round and second round. You look at the roster now and the needs, Ted. Do you see a specific plan they ought to have early in the draft?
Well, the one thing about the Steelers is they know who they are. They have an identity, and sometimes they don't let needs necessarily drive what they do on draft day. They look for that Steeler player, that guy who fits their mold on and off the field. But as you look at it, Mike Wallace, 119 targeted throws last year, that's a lot of opportunity that the offense was going through, and they've got to find other players to kind of pick up that slack.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think receiver is definitely a place you could see them go, but at the end of the day, the Pittsburgh Steelers always start and end with defense, and you're talking about a defensive roster that is getting really up there in years. You lose some key players. I think in the first round, we'll see them target somebody that can get after the quarterback, an area they were not up to Steelers standards last year.
Baldy at 17, who would you like to see, or what position would you like to see the Steelers target?
Well, the one player in this draft that has Steelers written all over him, to me, is Jarvis Jones, but he's not going to be there at 17. But he's the guy that looks like you could put a black and gold uniform on him, and, he'd be driving offensive coordinators crazy for the next decade. But I think that's where Pittsburgh has to go right now. They have been getting younger there. They've been drafting on the defensive side of the ball, but we're really looking for an impact player, a guy that looks like, they're not going to be up there at 17 very often, but I think there's going to be a player there in the front seven that's going to just excite them. And I think that's the direction they're going to go.
And that'll be interesting to see who that person is, won't it, Brian? To see who's revealed as that guy that the Steelers like. Because I think you're totally on target about Jarvis Jones, would absolutely perfectly fit as a Steeler. I don't see any way possible he's available at 17. I mentioned Sheldon Richardson previously as a defensive lineman. Could he still possibly be there? I'm not so sure about that. Here's my surprise. What if they go back to safety? I know Troy Polamalu's there. I know Ryan Clark is there. But Polamalu's been dinged up a little bit recently. Kenny Vaccaro is an impact type of a player as a safety, and I think he would fit very well for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they were able to pull him at number 17.
You guys have both worked in the scouting world, for a combined 30 seasons. What is the Kevin Colbert way? What is the Steeler way of drafting? Because, it always seems to work.
I think it's knowing who you are. It's knowing your identity. It's knowing what you represent. And a big part of their process in the overall draft evaluation are those interviews, getting to know what makes that player tick. And does he fit within the culture of the black and gold like we're talking about?
And I think over the last few years, we've seen a pretty clear pattern. It's been speed on offense, especially at receiver, and it's been toughness on defense. Those are the two areas they always focus on. You want to have a big, physical, tough defense, but they've gotten pretty fast on offense, too.
Think back to the beginning of last week, one of the first big pieces of free agent news, veteran-wise, we had Mike Wallace going from those Steelers to the Miami Dolphins.